If the fence rests, let's lay it down. Gonna dig deep, wave that verdict round. The defense rests, time to analyze. With the evidence, we'll unveil the crime. Justice served in an honest fight. True crime tales till the verdict's right. Solving more than just trivial quests, where sentences rule at the defense rests.
Good morning, all. How are we? This trial started before the other one starts at 2, so I thought we would get into this one first, and then we can switch over straight after. I am here. I am near. So have no fear. I'm just doing an audio commentary today. Yeah. You don't want to see this face. Trust me. So, yes, this is good morning, sweetheart. How you going? I'm going to start off in here, and then we'll shift across to the socialite one when that starts a bit later. I didn't realise that it started way later than this, and I'd forgotten that this one was actually a messy face. Now I've got 3 to go. Oh Lord. Never bite off more than you can chew, Jodie. So we'll start this one, and then I will boot us over to the next one. We'll just follow the leader, all right? We're just going to have a 12-hour stream. All right, let's get this one started.
Defendant is guilty of murder in the first degree.
I'm still reeling
The
up.
verdict form is signed by a foreperson of the jury. It is dated 1/29/2025. There are no marks on the portion of the verdict form pertaining to involuntary manslaughter. Does the state wish to examine the jury verdict form?
Very good, thank you.
Does the defense?
No, Your Honor, thank you.
You may be seated. Is there a request for the court to poll the jury?
Not from the state, Your Honor. No, Your Honor.
It's a request to
All
vote
right,
for jury, that's for sure.
The verdict is
No,
received
no,
by the
no,
court and
yeah,
directed
not at
to
all.
be recorded.
Just
I'll ask the state to prepare an appropriate order in the
I can't
premises.
believe
The court
was so
accepts
quick.
the
And,
jury verdict
and
and finds this defendant
So wrong.
guilty
I
of
really
murder
think they've
in
got
the
it wrong.
first
Bad.
degree.
Like,
The defense will be afforded time to file all appropriate motions. And as we discussed earlier,
convinced,
we
not
must
even by the
have
slightest.
far proceedings concerning the
There are far
aspect
too many
of
variables.
mercy.
Far too many.
I would like to do
Circumstantial.
that right away, and perhaps to commence this
Way too
afternoon.
much
I can
doubt. Way.
afford the defense
Way.
or the state 2 hours to
I said
prepare,
way.
and we can go directly into the mercy phase.
All right. I'm just finishing setting this up because I wasn't planning on streaming this.
Your
But I'm
Honor,
gonna
as
now,
we
so
pointed out to the
just do
court,
back
we
stuff.
cannot
Sure.
have our witnesses
It will.
prepared in 2 hours.
Guess on to the next one. Yes.
Specifically,
There we go.
we anticipate calling the
It's
children.
starting late for
They-
some reason.
They are
Don't
not
ask
close
me
by at
why.
all. They're in school.
Let's put it onto subscriber mode. There we go. Okay.
Well, Matthew. No.
Hello, my darling.
What? I can
Welcome
hear
in.
you.
Welcome in. Why am I not hearing anything?
I've been corrected on that particular
What have I done?
point, but we have to get in
Probably
touch with
muted
our
or
other
something
witnesses.
stupid,
It will
but-
take considerable time to
Yep.
do that. We have to make sure they can get here,
Yeah, let's
and we
do that.
respectfully request
Right away, and perhaps to commence this afternoon. I can afford the defense or the
It's just
state
so
2
sad.
hours
So
to prepare,
sad.
and we can go directly into the mercy phase.
Your Honor, as we pointed out to the court, we cannot have our witnesses prepared in 2 hours. Specifically, we anticipate calling the children. They are not close by at all. They're in school.
Oh. Well, Matthew. No. What? I can hear you.
Oh. Oh, really? Holy crap.
I've been corrected on that particular point, but we have to get in touch with our other witnesses. It will take considerable time to do that. We have to make sure they can get here, and we respectfully request to continue these proceedings and have the mercy portion sometime tomorrow.
What? Oh, come on. Are you fishes? Right. You watch. I'll have a delay now. And I'll have to shuffle everything around again. Now, what I've done is I've set us up to boot us from here to when I start the socialite one. It'll take you directly there if you wanted to continue on with that for day 3. And then I will set that to boot us to the teen stabs mother, accidentally falls on knife one. So you shouldn't have to do anything. This is going to be a long day for you, sorry. Some interesting stuff has happened this last week, and it's I'll just open this up. Where is it? Where'd it go? Oh, there. Okay. Have a look at this. Now, it just so happens that Tanya and I are starting our series next week, the Tandem True Crime Tuesdays, and we are we're covering the Melbourne gangland wars, yeah, which I explained a few days ago. Well, in the last week, we have had 2 execution-style killings in Melbourne's underworld that link back to that. And we haven't had any action at all. Like, there's been nothing in the news at all to do with the Melbourne gangland wars for years. And 2 people have been killed in the last week. Today, it is Sam Abdul Rahim. He was called the Punisher. He's the bloke that you called to get the job done, apparently. And no receipts, no get out of jail free, no money back. That's it. You just disappear. This is today's news.
He was one of the most feared and notorious criminals in Melbourne. And today, the streets of the northern Epping suburb were filled with mourners who came to pay their respects. Sam Abdul Rahim, also known by his boxing nickname, The Punisher, made it to just 32 years old. 2 days after he was shot to death, he was laid to rest. Police say he's been living as a marked man for years.
We are aware
that
there has been a number of incidents in the past where threats have been made to this particular male.
We've got a world-class fight in front of us.
He was accomplished in the ring, winning 2 Australasian titles. But Abdul Rahim was best known for his criminal muscle. He did little to hide his fearsome reputation.
You notice his dominant energy when he walks into an area or walks into a room. I think he's used to commanding the control of people around him.
Olivia Jenkins has written extensively about Abdul Rahim for Melbourne's Herald Sun.
Why was it there?
Just has this way of sort of, making everybody sort of feel like comfortable. He can be funny and charismatic. He could be quick to anger. He had a very short fuse. If he didn't like something that was written or said about him on the news, he would let you know. He'd find your details and let you know.
Abdul Rahim had been a target for other gangsters for years. His suspected role in arranging the murder of a leading crime figure in 2016 earned him dangerous enemies. In 2018, he was sentenced to more than 3 years in prison for dangerous driving after a fatal car crash. But it was Abdul Rahim's role in Melbourne's tobacco wars that put him firmly in the crosshairs of his gangland enemies. Rowan Pike spent more than 2 decades with the Australian Federal Police and the Australian Border Force.
He was involved in one of the criminal gangs. Obviously, there's been a number of now virtually semi-celebrities who've raised their profile on the back of the wealth that they're creating.
Don't laugh, because the worst thing is kangaroos and wombats on the road. Wombats are probably the worst. It's like hitting a brick wall. I shit you not. They have destroyed cars completely, like the chassis completely fucked.
Out of the illicit tobacco industry. Some are based overseas. Abdul Rahim was based in Melbourne, and Melbourne seems to be the centre of much of that violence.
Pike says the battle over the illegal tobacco trade has seen criminals go to war in Melbourne, with more than 100 tobacco shops torched in the last 2 years.
It's all about the money. These criminals are brazenly selling their product. They're flashing their ill-gotten gains and wealth on social media and from overseas and so on. And they seem to have no fear.
Abdul Rahim survived numerous attempts on his life. He was kicked out of the Mongols Motorcycle Club in 2022. Months later, he was shot 8 times, leaving a funeral, and lived, even posting a picture of bullet wounds in his chest on social media.
That was when he really sort of started to become more of a known figure in the underworld and more of a dominant player.
Last year, he was ambushed outside his home and shot at 17 times. He wasn't hit. Gunmen returned 2.5 weeks later and set his house on fire. Abdul Rahim wasn't there.
A number of associates and close friends that we've spoken to on and off the record almost came to the assumption that this guy had 9 lives. There was almost this underlying assumption or hope that maybe they couldn't catch him.
Does it sound funny hearing all the accents on there instead of American?
Abdul Rahim was on a collision course with the man believed to be Melbourne's illegal tobacco king, Kazem Hamad. He's believed to be living in the Middle East since being deported in 2023 to Iraq.
The Punisher had a number of shops across Melbourne that were linked to him, and we saw when they were burnt down on a number of occasions, some of them as many as 3 times in less than a month. So the message was very clear.
Facing growing risks in Melbourne, Abdul Rahim spent more time overseas. He won this Australasian title fight in Thailand last year, when the bout was moved after the Melbourne venue was set on fire. He was careful about his movements. It's believed when he arrived back in Melbourne on Monday, there was a bounty of more than $1 million on his head.
Good morning, Christine.
Sam Abdul Rahim only stayed at this hotel one night, but someone found out. Tuesday morning, gunmen were waiting in the car park. This time, he didn't escape. Abdul Rahim was shot dead by up to 4 men in front of his girlfriend. Soon after, a Porsche SUV was set on fire 1.5 kilometers away. Police believe this was one of the getaway cars. Abdul Rahim's sister Ektama took to social media just hours after his death with a message for her brother's killer. "Whoever shot my brother to death, I'm after you, motherfucker," she wrote. Olivia Jenkins believes investigators will be bracing for possible reprisals.
Every underworld killing always sends shockwaves through that broader circle, and everybody is always on edge about when the next attack is going to come.
And, says Rowan Pike, the violent battle over illegal tobacco in Melbourne will continue.
I think that's an inevitable outcome of an industry which has been taken over by organised crime. It's just going to keep escalating until someone really tries to turn off the tap.
Sam Abdul Rahim told many people he thought his violent death was inevitable.
Oh, that's a
In the end, he
intersection,
was
that
right.
one. So there you go. That's the sneak peek. So that the Gangland War started back in 1988, I think it was. Let's go back to where is it? So yeah, it's interesting that it's now fired up again right now.
The defendant is guilty.
Sometime tomorrow.
No, bloody hell.
The defendant is guilty of.
Hello, mister. Hello. All right. Well, I only started this one because it was at least an hour and a half earlier than the last one, the next one. Actually, you know what I'd really like to, not really like to, but I wouldn't mind listening. Did I save it? Let me see. Did I? Oh, tell me I did. Where is it? Videos. No, I didn't. All right. Day 2. If I go back to day 1. When was the 911 call? That was. Can't remember when it was. Was it in the afternoon? It was, wasn't it? Ah, okay. There we go. I might replay that whilst we're waiting. So I'm going to snip it as well.
Mr. Griffith has elected to waive his presence in the courtroom during the publication of States 165. Mr. Griffith. Mr. Levine, you may publish.
All right, thank you.
This is awful. No. No,
14, 11, 2nd, September 8, 2024. 911, what's the address of the emergency? Hampton in Florida. I don't know the fucking, I don't know the secret address. My mom is talking to EMS now. She's bleeding out. Please help. Your mom is doing what? My mom's bleeding out. She's bleeding out. Okay, what's the address, or where do you think you are? What road are you off of? Where crosses that road? So then, Hampton in Florida, you go to the gate and you take the first right, and it's the house with the black dead out front. I'm trying to get into Hampton Inn. Hampton Inn, yes, ma'am. What city is it in? Well, it's Auburndale. I created a community. I can't interrupt. Okay, how do I lift someone? I need to get into the hospital. How do I lift someone? Okay, you called 911, so we're going to send an ambulance. She doesn't have time. She's leaving it. She keeps fucking fail. She doesn't have time. She needs to go now. Okay, and I'm using the address I see you at. Is that right? Is that where you are? Yes, ma'am. Okay. What can I do? I have your price after you talking about it. What the fuck do I do? Help is being sent. Stay on the line so I can get more information for the responders. I don't know. Okay, help is being sent. Okay, medical help is being sent. She's bleeding out. Where is she bleeding from, sir? She's bleeding from the neck, ma'am. This is my mother. Are you with the patient now? I'm with her now. How old is the patient? She's 39 years old. She has a heart condition. She has a is she awake? No, she's unconscious. She's not okay. Okay. Is she breathing? No, she's not. I don't think she's alive. Okay, where is it? Okay, and you said neck. Okay. All right, listen to me. I'm sending the paramedics to help you now. Stay on the line. I'll tell you exactly what to do next. Okay, listen to me. Are you by her now? I am by her, yes. Okay, listen carefully. Lay her flat on her back on the floor and remove anything under her head. Okay, she's good. She's good. Okay, I did it right now. Okay. Listen carefully, and I'll tell you how to do chest compressions. Make sure she is flat on her back on the ground. Place the heel of your hand on the breastbone in the center of the chest, right between the nipples. Put your other hand on top of that hand. Let's take off the shirt. Just do make sure she is flat on her back on the floor. Place the heel of your hand on the breastbone in the center of the chest, right between the nipples. Put your other hand on top of that hand. Okay. All right, pump the chest hard and fast, at least twice per second and 2 inches deep. Let the chest come all the way up between pumps. We're going to do this until help can take over. Count out loud so I can count with you. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2. One moment. Okay, just keep going, okay?
Oh.
So listen, what caused the bleeding? Listen, what caused the bleeding? She got real tight and she was giving me the knife and she fell on it. Where's the knife? Where is the knife right now? And who did she get in a fight with? She gave out me that we got real tight for a long time and then she got on top of me and fell on it. Which is bad. The knife, the knife to me. Yeah, I don't have it. I'll try it across the board. Where is the knife? I just put it across the floor with you. And it's bleeding controlled. He stopped bleeding. No more blood coming out. So I'll quit. Where did you throw the knife? I threw it to my right. You threw it to your right? It was totally away from you. It's away from me. Where's your mother? I'm over her. I'm trying to save her. Where are you? Where's her? Where are you? I was in the kitchen, in the house, and the door is unlocked. Okay, you're with your mother, correct? Okay, listen to me. Listen to me, please. Stop, okay? Listen to me, and I'm going to tell you how to control the bleeding.
You're an idiot, lady. You didn't listen.
Okay. All right, hold on. There's no more blood coming out of the wound. He's lost it all. Okay, listen, okay? We're going to do this, okay? Okay, listen to me. Get a clean, dry cloth or towel and tell me when you have it. My son is down low. Okay. Is the blood spurting or pouring out? No. Okay. No more. All right. Does she have a bleeding disorder or is she normally on blood thinners? No. Okay. I'm sending the paramedics to help you now. Stay on the line. I'll tell you exactly what to do next. Okay. Okay, I'm going to tell you how to stop the bleeding. Listen carefully and make sure we do it right. Get a clean, dry cloth or towel and tell me when you have it. Now place it right on the wound and press down firmly. Don't lift it up to look. Without lifting the cloth up, please tell me if the bleeding is under control now.
You're not bleeding anymore, lady.
There's no blood. She's lost all her blood. Okay, reassure her that help is on the way from now on. Don't let them have anything to eat or drink. It might make her sick or cause further problems. Don't move her unless it's absolutely necessary. Just tell her to be still and wait for help to arrive. No, I want to yet. Hear me. Okay, listen to me, okay? Okay, we're going to continue with CPR. Listen to me. Ready? 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. She's doing it. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1.
Ugh. All right.
Rehabilitated while in prison. The sum
Where's my sound?
Case number 23-F-343K. The record should reflect that the state appears by Tom Truman, prosecuting attorney for Raleigh County, Ashley Acord, assistant prosecuting attorney for Raleigh County. The record should further reflect the presence of the defendant, Natalie Cochran, in person and by counsel Matthew Victor and Stanley I. Selden. We are here now for the penalty phase of this case. We need to discuss some ground rules and make sure that we are on the same page in this regard. The court will permit brief opening statements from each side. As I explained to you yesterday, the defense goes forward first, but yet there is no burden of proof. In my review of the law, also, the defense has the last word before the matter is submitted to the jury for determination, and we can work that out. The court will permit instructions to be submitted if you wish, and I believe the state has submitted a penalty phase instruction. We have been working on a proposed verdict form, and we have one, and the state has submitted one, and at the appropriate time, we will discuss that factor. We will concentrate on character of the defendant. The court will employ evidentiary rules 401 and 403. 401 pertaining to relevancy, 403 the balancing test to ensure that there is no undue prejudice to this defendant. Let me hear if you have any questions or suggestions. Mr. Victor.
I think that at some point, Your Honor, we may consider the instruction that has been offered by the state, but I don't think it's necessary to do it at this time.
Certainly.
Unless the court believes otherwise.
It's sort of a bland instruction, and I don't mean that in any derogatory way, but it just sets forth the circumstances and explains to the jury why we are here, and if the jury recommends parole eligibility, the defendant would be considered eligible for parole after serving 15 years in prison. So it doesn't seem to be very controversial, I should say. Is the defense prepared to go forward at this time?
Yes, Your Honor.
Is the state ready?
State ready.
All right, bring out the jury bailiff.
Bring the jury.
Good morning, members of the jury. Good morning. You are back, and I'm glad to see you. We are here now for the so-called penalty phase of this case. In this part, the jury has the sole discretion whether this defendant, Natalie Cochran, convicted of first-degree murder, should receive mercy. As in the guilt phase, which has already been determined, your verdict must be unanimous. If you recommend parole eligibility, the defendant may be considered eligible for parole after serving 15 years in prison. If you do not recommend parole eligibility, in other words, if you do not recommend mercy, the defendant will receive a life sentence and never be eligible for parole. All right, we switch things up a little bit from what you're used to. In this phase of the case, the court will permit the defense to go forward first. All right, I'll ask Mr. Victor or Mr. Selden to please call their first witness.
Your Honor, I believe you mentioned brief opening statements.
All right, if you wish to present an opening statement, that would be fine.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, the court, and all of the spectators. Now, as the judge has told you, we are now entering the penalty phase where you, the jury, and only you, will decide the penalty for Natalie Cochran. As the judge has told you, she's now been convicted of first-degree murder of her husband, Michael. And you, the jury, have to decide if she spends the rest of her life in prison, which would be no mercy, or if she becomes eligible for parole after 15 years, which means you grant her mercy. We'll be calling a number of witnesses that will testify to Natalie Cochran's character, things she has done prior to her conviction, things she has done that indicate her character and her ability to be rehabilitated while in prison. The sum total of why Natalie Cochran, we hope and implore you to grant her mercy. I hope you listen carefully to what they have to say without prejudging them. And again, we beg you to give mercy to Natalie Cochran. Thank you.
Mr. Truman.
Thank you. Good morning. This will be a lot less information than you had to absorb over the last 2 weeks, and you're thinking, thank goodness. Well, we couldn't have made up a stranger procedure than this, but this is the procedure. The defense is right. You won't get any guidance. You won't get any instructions other than what Judge Kirkpatrick just went over with you. There's really no criteria. You are totally in charge, completely in charge. It's whatever you feel is appropriate. And for that, the state will be putting on some evidence also of what we think accurately portrays.
I agree, sweetheart.
I agree. Character. And at the end of it, you'll go back in your jury room and you'll decide, is this defendant worthy of parole at some point or not? And that's it. That's your sole job remaining.
I hope that they've already filed the appeal
we'll see how the evidence unfolds, and we'll see what you think when you come back out of your jury room with a decision.
Especially for ineffective counsel, at the very least.
All right, now, Mr. Selden, please call your first witness.
Your Honor, we would like to call Penny Carrico Lowry to the stand.
Very well. You'll raise your right hand, please. Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? You may have a seat right there.
You okay?
Yes, I'll be fine.
I know these proceedings they're hard on everyone. Please tell us your name and the correct spelling of it.
Penny Lowry, Penny Lowery.
Do you know Natalie Cochran?
Yes.
Do you have any relationship, family relationship to her?
Yes, she's my baby sister.
So you've known Natalie virtually all of her life.
Yes.
I would like you to tell this jury any aspects of Natalie's character, her good works, her actions towards others in the community. I'm leaving it pretty open for you to convince this jury as to why they should grant your little sister mercy. And feel free to go into any details that you think they might like to hear. Okay?
Yeah. I was thinking about this last night. I know that you don't see her like I see her. And I was 12 years old when she was born, so she was like my little baby doll. And I just remember her, just things about her, like she would come to my room and sleep with me.
Okay.
She was afraid of the dark. And
Go slowly.
okay, I'm sorry.
I know you want to get it all out,
Yes,
but I want to make sure the jury hears everything. So slowly, please.
So when I see her, I see that little girl that came to my room every night and was afraid of the dark and would sleep with me. And I see the little girl that I drove to and from school every day. And then on Saturdays, I would want to watch what I wanted to watch. And she always wanted to watch My Little Pony. And we would do that together. I watched her grow up, and she was a beautiful, smart woman. And I was there. We helped plan her wedding. I was with her when she had her kids.
Okay, again,
I'm sorry.
I know. I'm having a little trouble
Okay.
hearing and following you. I know you're extremely emotional. We understand that.
Yes.
Just a little slower, please. Thank you.
Are you all understanding me?
Okay.
So I watched her become this woman and have her kids, and I love her and I love Michael. And I remember one time, I was thinking last night that I asked them to babysit for me when my daughter was a little baby, and they were so excited. They weren't married yet, and they came over and kept her. And I was gone for a few hours, and she was awful. And I came home, and Michael said, "We are never having kids." But then they had these beautiful 2 kids, and I just love them so much. And Natalie, I know all 40 plus years of her. You've seen her just this short amount of time. She is good. She's done so many great, so helpful, and she helped people. She wrote a devotion book. We grew up in church, and she knows what right from wrong. And we've been taught to be forgiving. And I look at my family, and I'm just begging you for mercy for those kids and for my mom and dad. Giving her mercy does not mean she'll get out of prison. It means there's hope for a parole. She's been in prison already. She's missed every milestone, their graduation and Nikki's prom. She'll miss weddings and probably when they have their babies. I don't think my mom and dad will be alive when she gets out. But I just pray that you give some hope. Hope is a powerful thing. There's a statement that says, "Life without hope is ceasing to live." And I think those kids need some hope to see their mom as she gets older. They've hurt the most. We've all hurt, but they've been hurting the most. They need her. This is the only family they've known.
Absolutely.
They've been raised by their grandparents. They're 77. And I just begging you to please consider giving her some mercy. It doesn't mean she'll be paroled, but give her that chance to be reformed and to do better. We love her. We just plead with you to do that for her.
You've talked briefly about Natalie's character prior to this conviction. What kind of person was she? And
Is she?
can you talk about any contributions to the community, anything like that?
Of course, they always gave back. That she worked in the Church of Juanas, and she did all the little league sports, anything that her kids needed. She was there. We would always go shopping every year to Pigeon Forge at Thanksgiving when the men would go hunting, and she always made sure her kids had what they needed before she bought herself. She never bought herself anything. She served on committees in our community. She served with all the sports. And
what kind of committees?
We're just like team mom, and then served as officers on these sports teams like football and baseball. And she did a lot of things like that. She would do Bible school for the kids, and that was her priority, her family, and they did everything together.
She's been in federal prison for a couple of years now. Do you know anything about her activities while she's been in prison?
I do. I know that she teaches classes, and I know that she's helped. I don't know all the details, but she's helped with like helping people get their GEDs. She does devotion. She wrote a devotion book in prison, and she's a friend to a lot of those people.
I don't have any more specific questions. Is there anything else you would like the jury to hear?
Just asking them to please consider this for those kids, especially for our family. And what you see there is our family, and we need this, please. We need some hope.
Okay. Thank you.
Cross-examination.
Thank you. Ms. Lowry, the defendant grew up to be a little bit different than she was when she was your little sister, 12 years younger than you. Turned out a little bit different than what it looked like at the time, didn't it?
I mean, I don't know what that means, different. I know you found her guilty of this, but she was still my sister. I mean, I always trusted and loved her.
Absolutely. And blood is very thick. You're loyal to your sister. Fair enough?
Yes.
You're also an educator by training, correct?
Yes.
Do you think there should be consequences for misbehavior?
Yes.
And it should be proportional to what the misbehavior was, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
And I also believe that fair is not equal and equal is not fair. I just think a lot of things have to be considered. I know that there's been mercy given to people that did a lot worse.
Okay, we'll just accept that. The last time you testified in this case, you didn't recall how much you lost in your investments with the defendant. Did you go back and check?
I did. I said it was around $50,000.
And is that what it was?
I told you I didn't keep accurate records. She would use my credit card, then I'd pay some, then I'd give her more and pay, and I just never kept. But I was $50,000 in the hole, and everything was said and done.
Where did that money come out of your retirement or something?
No,
just cash you had.
Actually, it was more of my credit cards.
Oh, okay. So when you had to pay your credit card bills, you were paying the principal, or did you pay them off each month, or did you have
depended. It just depended. I tried to do as much as I could. I was a single mom at the time.
Oh, okay. In her federal case, she pled guilty to the wire fraud and money laundering. Right?
I don't know what the exact charges were, but she did plead guilty.
Right.
I don't remember. I don't know the exact charges.
Okay. And you had mentioned her contributing to the community.
Yes.
You're aware of some scholarships, the Michael Cochran Legacy scholarships?
Yes.
Those scholarships were awarded by the defendant?
Yes, I think so.
But they were never funded, were they?
No.
But she did raise some money for the Michael Cochran scholarships, legacy scholarship, correct?
I do not know.
Okay. You just know that in her community activities, she awarded them, but those kids never got a dime.
Correct.
Your Honor, I think that's all the state has to this witness. Thank you.
All right. Anything further, Mr. Selden?
Is it okay if I call you Penny?
Yes.
The prosecutor asked you about money for scholarship fund, et cetera.
Yes.
Were you aware that the government seized all of the assets of Natalie? And among those seized assets were any monies, et cetera, that might have been paid to these scholarship funds?
I don't know what the money was for, but I do know that the government seized a lot of her money, all of her funds.
Okay, thank you.
Anything further, Mr. Truman?
Those scholarships were awarded in May of 2019, correct?
I don't recall I guess that was the date. I don't know.
Okay, that's fine. But the search warrant wasn't until the following month, and she wasn't convicted till like September.
I don't recall the dates, but I know that it was in the summer.
Is Rachel your daughter?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. That's all the state has, Your Honor. Thanks.
Anything, Mr. Sullivan?
Yes. Now, I just want a complete understanding of these scholarships. They were awarded in the summer to the students. Is that right?
They were awarded, I think, at the end of the school year.
Okay. And the monies to be paid for these scholarships was for the following school year. Isn't that right?
Yes.
And all of this investigation into the Ponzi scheme and the seizing of her money, all that occurred before the school year started. Isn't that correct?
Yes.
No other questions?
Anything, Mr. Truman?
Nothing from the state. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Lowry. You may step down. You are excused.
Thank you.
Call your next witness, Mr. Sullivan.
Your Honor, we would like to call Lacey Treadway as our next witness. Your Honor, it does not appear as if Ms. Treadway is here, so we will call Sharon England.
All right. If you could, Mr. Selden, speak up. The jury's having some difficulty hearing you.
No problem, Your Honor. I usually have the opposite problem.
Thank you. If you'll raise your right hand, ma'am. Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
You may have a seat right there.
Would you please state your full name and how you spell it?
Sharon England, SharonEngland.
Are you any relation to Natalie Cochran, or how do you know her?
She is my niece.
And as you've heard, we're here and you're here to tell this jury why you think Natalie should get mercy and give this jury a better understanding of what type of person Natalie is. Okay?
Okay.
To that end, would you speak on behalf of Natalie and tell this jury what type of person you think she is?
Okay. Well, first of all,
And if you would, please speak into the microphone.
okay. First of all, because I've known Natalie all of her life, we've been in close contact ever since she was born. Natalie's always been the most compassionate, kind, caring person throughout her life, always putting others before herself. She is a loving mother and is selfless when it comes to the needs of her children. After Natalie's heart became worse and more difficult, toward times she couldn't drive, and her parents were trying to help, and they would have appointments. And my husband and I would drive the children to school in Greenbrier County. And on those trips, just being alone, usually when we were together, it was at big family gatherings, but just having the kids in the car, we became very close with the kids. And since the death of their dad, they became extra close to their mother, and she was just always there for them.
Now, ma'am, I want to interrupt you for just a moment. You're referring to some notes.
Mhm.
Did anyone other than you prepare them?
Oh, no, I prepared it.
Okay, and can it be assumed you jot some notes down to refresh your recollection?
Yes, definitely.
And you mentioned Natalie's heart problems.
Yes,
Were you aware that Natalie had not one, but two surgeries on her heart,
yes,
and that she currently has an implant in her chest to help with her heartbeat?
Defibrillator.
Yes.
Okay. No, I'm sorry to interrupt you.
Or
Please go on.
actually a pacemaker, probably.
I
Or
just,
both. Combination.
since the kids have become so attached to their mom, I'm just asking that you would have mercy on her, that they might have some hope that at some point in time, when she does get out of prison, they would be able to spend some time with her. That would mean a lot to them. And I want to also emphasize that Natalie has always been faithful to volunteer her services and to help others. And I have a list here of things that I'm aware of personally that she has done. As a youth, she donated her money to buy Christmas presents for the needy. She would come to my elderly aunt's home and other elderly people to give them flu shots and to help with other necessary needs. She volunteered to conduct poison prevention demonstrations at local schools, conducted free health eating course for seniors. She conducted flu shots and clinics at the churches and at Sewing for Souls. She conducted health seminars at the Lions Club, she was a coordinator of juvenile diabetes awareness walks and education classes, organizes medicine planners for their elderly neighbors. She volunteered at Sewing for Souls and at her church with the Bible printing ministry. She taught cubbies and awanas at her church for 5 years and played the piano for 4 years at her local church. She even volunteered at Daniels Elementary when they lost their music teacher because of lack of funding, and she filled in free of charge. She volunteered at Habitat for Humanity as well as Homes for Seniors. And while in prison, she organized and helped with Bible studies, beginners, intermediate, and advanced Bible studies. She wrote 2 devotion books. I know one has been published. I think they both have. And they're using those in the prisons now. And even at Southern Regional Jail, they have some, but also in Kentucky and Tennessee, the prison ministries there are using the devotion and study books that she wrote for the women prisoners. I hope that you will consider Natalie's history of being generous, caring, and giving person, and consider giving her mercy on her sentence. And I hope that you'll pray about it and ask God for wisdom and understanding to do the right thing. I know in Matthew chapter 5, verse 7, it says, "Blessed are the merciful, for they shall obtain mercy." And that was said by Jesus. I interpret that to mean that if we're merciful to other people, he will show us mercy. And so I'm asking that you will show grace and mercy to Natalie, just as our Savior Jesus Christ has shown grace and mercy to each of us. We don't deserve it. She might not either, but he gives it to us. It's free. And I'm asking that you would do that for Natalie, not so much for her sake, but for the sake of her children, her parents, and the family. And as you make your decision whether or not to show mercy or no mercy, I know you know your actions will be judged by Natalie's family and loved ones, by Michael's family and loved ones, by the prosecution, by the defense, but none of that matters. That doesn't matter diddly squat. What really matters is that you will be judged by a powerful Almighty God. And in his word, he said, "Blessed are the merciful, for they shall obtain mercy." So I'm asking for you to please give her mercy on this conviction so that someday her children will be able to be in her presence.
Thank you.
Cross-examination.
You can, but it's old notes and I revamped them.
No, I
So
understand.
I've got little notes on there.
Okay.
Some things I didn't say.
That's just something that we have to do. Thank you, ma'am. Now, you describe Natalie as being a compassionate, kind, and caring person. Is that right?
It is. I've never seen her any other way.
So where do you think it all went wrong?
Well, I don't know if I'm supposed to say this, but she loved Michael with all of her heart. When he asked her to quit being a pharmacist because he was jealous of her coworker, he asked her to also be the woman because they were giving the contracts to women to start that business. And I believe she would have done whatever he said. And I believe she made some unwise, bad decisions.
I believe that too.
I bet she's
You were
regretting
talking
asking
about
that.
The Bible and the teachings of Jesus. Are you familiar with the 10 Commandments?
Yes, I am.
So you know one of those is "Thou shalt not kill."
I do.
Do you believe that we're judged by that as well?
Yes, I do. I also believe God will forgive those. And he's asking us to forgive if we want to be forgiven.
I know you talked about her volunteering her time and money and services, especially with things like youth sports too, right?
I wasn't as aware of the youth sports thing. I was more aware of the community things.
That's fair. I don't think I have any more questions for you. Thank you, guys.
Anything further, Mr. Selden? Thank you, Ms. England. You may
So you're
continue.
telling me this guy that is jealous of a co-worker
Or your next witness, please.
knew nothing about this business. He's the one that encouraged her to do it. So he found it.
Your Honor, I would like to call Rachel Carrico to the stand.
You must stay at home and be the wife and mother. You must not go to work.
You'll raise your right
But don't tell me anything about the business.
Affirm to
I
tell
don't
the
want to
truth,
know.
the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God. You may have a seat.
Good morning, Ms. Carrico.
Good morning.
You appear very emotional. Are you okay? Can you testify?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Okay. And if you would, please talk into the microphone
Okay.
so the jury can hear you.
Okay. Mhm.
Please tell us your full name and spell it, please.
Yeah, my name is Rachel Carrico, RACHEL, CARRICO.
Thank you. How do you know Natalie
Messy
Cochran?
face will go for.
Natalie is my aunt, but I would describe her as more than that.
Is it just more like
my mom was up
victim
here saying,
impact
she's been a very
type of thing, or
close and influential person in my life. I would consider her more of a mom than an aunt to me.
Okay, I just want to
Okay.
clarify. You said when your mom is up here testifying, your mother is Penny Carrico Lowry. Is that
Yes.
correct? Okay, please go
Yes.
on.
Her kids they're my cousins, but we've always been like brother and sister. I'm an only child, so having them with me growing up has been a blessing to me, especially within the past 5 years. I think we've grown very close together because we've needed each other. But I would always be with them growing up. Natalie would always include me in anything that they were doing, big or small, whether it was going on a day trip or just going out to eat. They always invited me, and I've just been a member of their family.
Why do you think this jury should grant Natalie mercy? And you know what that means from the discussions, correct?
Yes.
So why should they give her mercy?
I don't think anyone truly knows Natalie like we do. My family does. Like I said, she's been a mom to me, and she didn't have to do that. Just even last Wednesday, I had to put my dog down after court. And on Thursday, that's when my two cousins had testified. And Natalie called me after from Southern Regional, and it wasn't to talk about court. It was to check on me because I had lost my pet. And she's always been that way with me. She has included me like one of her kids. And when my mom was in the hospital on my 17th birthday, Natalie bought me a cake, my favorite cake, and took me out to eat so I wouldn't have such a crappy birthday. She took me to Disney World. She taught me how to ski. She bought me my first Starbucks drink. She's had such an influence on my life, and looking back and even looking at now, I'm very thankful for the influence she has had on me, and it has been nothing but good. She has shown me how to love and be strong, and I love her kids tremendously. I will always be there, and it's because of her and her demonstrating that love. I know that there's been things said, but no one truly knows her like we do. And I just beg for mercy because we need it. We need her back. I can't fathom her not being around to not even see me get married or have kids, but much less her own kids. We need hope.
I don't have any more questions. Thank you. Oh, I do have one question. You talked about your 17th birthday. How old are you now?
I'm 26.
Okay, thank you.
Cross-examination.
Ms. Carrico, what do you do for a living?
I'm an occupational therapist,
So where did you go to school?
West Virginia University
When did you graduate?
College.
Yeah.
May of 2022.
And you were one of the recipients of the Michael Cochran Emergency Scholarship, were you not?
Yes.
Did you ever get any of that money?
No.
You mentioned that the defendant was so influential on you. Can you be a little more specific other than this generalized, she's a loving person? How else did she influence you?
To be smart and to strive for, what I wanted, and encouraged me when I was in college, and just make sure that I knew like how proud she was and how good I was doing. And I mean, like, she's influenced what clothes I wear. I like to wear the same type of clothing that she did. And like I said, with coffee, I mean, it's little small things that have had a big impact, but also, just the characteristics of her.
Not to revisit this day, but anybody that experienced putting a pet down knows how awful that is. And you got pretty emotional kind of recapturing that terrible day.
Yeah.
Can you imagine what it's like to be a mom and lose your son?
Be hard.
As understatements go, being hard would probably work, but it would be a lot more than just being hard.
I'm sorry, I can barely hear the prosecutor. I would like to speak after.
Yes, sir. It would be more than hard to lose a son, correct?
I would say so.
You also mentioned that the defendant influenced you in terms of accomplishments, and you are clearly accomplished, so you can give her some credit for that. She too was accomplished. It's hard to get into pharmacy school, isn't it?
Yeah.
So she was well equipped to deal with life in terms of finances just by not only getting in, but graduating and getting a job as a pharmacist. Isn't that true?
I know I'm not good with finances personally. I think you're good at what you specialize in. And so financially, I don't know.
Okay. In her influencing you, she didn't give you tips on how to run a Ponzi scheme or anything, did she?
No.
Okay. That's all the questions the state has. Thank you.
Anything further, Mr. Selden?
Yes, Your Honor, just a moment. Is it okay for me to call you Rachel?
Yes.
Now, Rachel, the prosecutor asked you questions about not getting money for your scholarship fund.
Yes.
And that money was promised to you in the following school year.
Yes, it was going to be for my first fall semester of OT school.
Okay. And before that happened, you're aware that Natalie Cochran and Michael Cochran's assets were all seized. There wouldn't be any money for your scholarship fund, correct?
Yes.
Okay. There were questions about your scholarship fund, but did Natalie Cochran give you any other financial help, either in school or otherwise, over the years?
I don't know so much about school. My mom took care of most of that for me.
Right.
But they would always, she would buy me clothes, or she would pay for my meal if we were out eating, or to get my nails done if I was with them.
She helped you all along
Yeah.
with finances when you needed it. Would that be a fair statement?
Yes.
The prosecutor asked some questions about Natalie being equipped for life, etc. Did Natalie help you to become equipped for life and all of its bumps and challenges?
Yes.
And how did she do that?
Through natural life lessons, whether it was a breakup with a boyfriend in high school, she was there to console me and to tell me that things would be better. And, it was okay to cry, that I would be stronger. Whether it was helping to motivate me when it came time, like my senior year of high school and starting college. And she gave me the talk of, what alcohol and drugs would be. And she would always be there to call if I ever needed help. And I didn't feel comfortable telling my own mom that she was there and she would do what she could to help me or protect me. I never doubted her love for me. I still don't. Yeah.
Okay. That's good. I mean, that's sufficient. Now, did there come a time when Natalie Cochran had to have heart surgeries?
Yes.
Did you care for her in any way or at any time as a result of those surgeries?
Yes. Like I said, I was in college in Morgantown, and she had to have a heart surgery. It was like an outpatient surgery. It wasn't something huge, but I took her up to Morgantown and we stayed at my apartment and I took her to that surgery. And I waited for what felt like forever. And the nurse had actually called me and said, hey, this is the number that was on file, but Natalie's asking for Michael. Do you know a Michael? I was like, I do, but he's not here. Like I would be there to get her. And I went and consoled her.
Let me clear something up here.
Mhm.
You're talking about Michael Cochran, right?
Yes. Yeah.
And Michael was still alive at that time, correct?
No.
No, he'd already passed.
But she was under like an anesthetic. And
Okay.
so-
No further questions. Thank you.
Cross-examination, Mr. Truman.
State has no additional questions, Ms. Carrico. Thank you.
Very well. Thank you very much. You may step down. Call your next witness, Mr. Selden.
The defense would like to call Larry Jessup.
You'll raise your right hand, please, sir. Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? I do. You may have a seat.
Would you please tell this court and the jury your name and how you spell it?
Larry Jessup, LarryJessup.
Mr. Jessup, are you any relation to Natalie Cochran?
Yes, I'm Natalie's daddy.
I am again going to ask you sort of open-ended questions. You're here on Natalie's behalf today, isn't that correct?
Yes, sir.
And since you're Natalie's father, you know her pretty well. You've been with her all of her life, correct?
Yes, sir.
Would you please tell this jury what kind of person you know Natalie to be and why you think they should grant her mercy?
Well, Natalie was my daughter. Naturally, she grew up in our household. She was always a great youngster. She was always very giving person. She helped us, my wife and I, Daphne, all in her growing up years. She went to high school here in Beckley, and she, in high school, she did a lot of different things extra for her school.
Like what? if you recall?
Well, she's on committees and she did social service work and that kind of thing.
Okay, please go on.
As far as the timeline in her life, I can kind of go along those kind of lines. My sister Sharon has already mentioned a lot of things that she did, and as she grew up, but she met Michael in high school, and he would come to our house, and so I got to be friends with him, and then they both went to WVU to school, and then they decided to get married in 2019, and then they were married May the 20th of 2020. They didn't have a place to stay, so my wife and I bought him a mobile home, and he didn't have a car to drive, so I gave him a pickup truck that I had, and so they went all the way through college at WVU, and then they went to Tennessee after they got out of school. They moved to Tennessee, and I think he went to work at a company called Nova, and she went to work as a pharmacist.
Okay.
And
please talk into the microphone. You're kind of fading out a little bit.
Okay.
Thank
Try
you.
to do better.
You're doing fine, sir.
So my wife and I, we would go visit them periodically, and Michael and I would go fishing in the mountains at Pigeon Forge. They lived right outside of Pigeon Forge.
I'm sorry, sir. Go ahead.
Okay. And we would visit them there, and our first grandchild was, well, not first grandchild, but the first one from Natalie and Michael was born in Tennessee, and then they moved back to here in 2006. And they bought a home on 4H Lake Road. It was repossessed by the bank, and it was in dire need of repair. So Michael and I worked on the house for about a year, repairing the house. And Michael and I became very, very close. And of course, Natalie, she would come over and help us, and my wife would keep the children. And then they moved, of course, into that house. They stayed with us while we were repairing the house. And then they've had a good life there. They did a lot of things together. We did a lot of things with them.
What are some, now, I'm sure the jury wants to hear a lot of this history, but you said they did a lot of things together. Please tell what kinds of things and what Natalie was doing, if you would.
Well, in your everyday life, you see, you just kind of go along. Some things you remember as events in their life. Other things are just every day going along together.
Can you speak to Natalie's personality, her character, things like that?
Well, just like she had always been, she was a very caring person. She took care of her family. She took care of us a lot of times. If we needed something, she would help us. But as far as her family, she always put her family first in everything.
How old are you, sir?
77.
Has Natalie taken care of you for any physical ailments or anything like that?
She would always take care of, me getting shots and that kind of thing. I had a massive heart attack in 2014, and she was always coming over, checking on me, blood pressure, my heart rate, and those kind of things. And then in January of 2015, I had a defibrillator and a pacemaker put in, and she was always trying to monitor those for me. Yes, sir.
I need just a moment, Your Honor.
Very well.
Mr. Jessup, as we get older, we kind of get some dates mixed up. Wasn't it true that Natalie and Michael got married in the year 2000, not 2019 or 2020?
Oh, I'm sorry, 2000. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry about that.
Oh, that's fine.
Yeah.
I'm having trouble with my memory as I get older. Would you classify Natalie as a good daughter?
Certainly. Excellent daughter.
How would you classify her as a wife and mother?
Again, excellent. She took care of Michael and the kids. Did every, just as almost as a servant to him. Yes, sir.
You've talked about how close you were to Michael, right?
Yes, sir. Yeah,
and Natalie.
Yes, both. Mike and I developed a really just a minute. I'll be all right.
Okay. You're obviously very emotional.
Yeah.
Just take a moment, okay?
A real close relationship over the years. We hunted and fished together, went on vacations together. He took me deep sea fishing. He became just like a son to me. It was a very good relationship. We did a lot of things together and also with my grandson Ashton, his son, and that went on for years. And then 2000, we had a lease in Greenbrier County, and we built a shelter up there. And he could do a lot of the work that I couldn't do. Of course, I was a little bit more able to do things then. It was about 10. I guess,
okay.
So,
let me just interrupt.
Hello.
Just a moment.
Hello. Testing.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3.
A very good relationship with Michael.
Yes.
You had a very good relationship with your daughter.
Yes, sir.
This jury has already found Natalie Cochran guilty of killing her husband, Michael.
Yes, sir. I understand.
Do you think she should be punished for that act by spending the rest of her life in prison?
Well, I would hope that the jury would see fit to grant her mercy. I know they made their decision. Certainly, I don't agree with it. I felt like that there was a lot of variables there and a lot of unanswered questions. So I would plead with the jury, have compassion, and to give her mercy. So, I mean, I'll never be able to touch her again. All the time I'll be able to see her be behind the glass wall. But, her kids, if she spends 15 years, they would be 35 and 33, I guess. So they would be able to have.
Yeah. Take a moment, sir.
Yeah, okay. Some more time with her kids. But as far as I'm concerned, of course, she's my daughter. I thought she was the best kid we could ever have. We had 4 kids, and all of them were great. And
And I just, you're 77 now, right?
Yes.
So when Natalie is possibly up for parole, if the jury gives her mercy.
Yes.
If my math is correct, you're going to be 92 years old. Is that right?
Yes, sir. I don't figure I'll ever make it to 92 with my heart, but I would be 92. Mm-hmm.
So you may or may not be alive after that 15 years. Is that
That's
right?
correct, yes.
Would you like the possibility of spending time with Natalie, not behind the glass or in prison, but in person? And hopefully you'll live that long and the jury would grant you mercy. Is that a hope of yours?
Certainly.
I don't think I have any more questions. Thank you.
Cross-examination.
Mr. Jessup, I just want to ask you one thing, and then I'll let you go, okay?
Okay.
Now, we've heard a lot of talk already this morning from other witnesses and from you about wanting to reunite Natalie with her kids so that they have their mom.
Yes.
How does it make you feel to know that they will never be reunited with their father?
Makes me extremely sad.
Thank you, sir. That's it. I have no further questions.
Anything further, Mr. Selden?
Yeah.
No, sir, just hold on.
No. No other questions for this witness. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Jessup. You may step down. You are excused. Call your next witness, Mr. Selden.
Your Honor, this time we would like to call Daphne Jessup to the stand.
If you'll raise your right hand, please, ma'am. Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, Your Honor.
You may have a seat.
Are you okay?
I'll be fine.
All right.
All right.
The other trial.
Would you please
just
tell
begun,
this
so
court
after this-
and the jury
This we will.
your full name and spell it?
Well,
Daphne
that's if you want to leave this. It's up to you.
And
But
talk into the
I can switch to
microphone.
the other one if you like, and I'll take this one up again later. Let me know what you want to do, chat.
Are you any
Stay
relation
or
to
go?
Natalie Cochran?
Yes, sir. I'm her mother.
And you're appearing here on her behalf, is that right?
Absolutely.
Would you please tell this jury what kind of a person Natalie is and was to you, and why they should consider granting her mercy?
My husband and I didn't talk about what we were saying, but I did a little timeline. I thought that would help me stay focused today. But she was born to us late in life.
Well,
and all the siblings were growing up and going, and she was still home with us. So there was a.
I think we'll head over to the other one after this witness, because they're live, so we can always come back to this one. I'll just make part 2.
3 of us,
And-
all through childhood.
and, ma'am, if you would.
No.
Slowly.
So you
I
don't
want the
have to
jury
do
to hear
anything, it will just
everything
take you
you
there.
have to say. Thank you.
All through childhood, she did terrific in school. There was never a problem. And I don't want to be funny, but the only problem I had with her in 2nd grade, over half of her classroom got lice, and she was one of them. And so with her curly, tight hair, I had a hard time with her. That's the only thing. She was a wonderful child. She was active in cheerleading, music. Oh, she's talented. She can sing. She can play the piano. It embarrasses her too, and she gets nervous, so she seldom does it. But I think she'd probably go to Nashville. She'd sing at church and things. But always a joy. And like others said, her aunt would give all the kids a good bit of money at Christmas. She always took half of hers and gave it to others. And that's in childhood. And then in high school, it was the same way. She didn't date very much. She worked. She didn't have to work, but she wanted to work, and she worked at a sporting goods store. And that's where she met Michael. And they were 18 when he came to our house, and he became like a son to us. I made notes. I don't want to forget anything, but
Yes, ma'am. And I just want to clarify those notes.
yes, sir.
Those are your notes.
Yes, sir.
To refresh your memory.
Yes, sir. 'Cause-
Nobody else made them. Nobody else told you to write them down. Is that right?
No, sir.
Okay, go ahead, please.
So they dated, and then the summer after the 12th grade, I think it was they graduated. Larry and I drove Michael other places to play summer baseball. He loved baseball. We stayed together in motels, Larry and Ashton, Michael, and then Natalie and myself.
Okay, just a little slower. I know you want to get it all out, and I want to hear it. I know the jury wants to hear it. So just, slow it down a little bit. Thank you.
So then college came, and after the first year of college, they were married. When they had the wedding, her professor had a band, a bluegrass band, and he brought his band down and they played Civil War music for the wedding. We had it outdoors, and Michael wasn't real close to his dad at that time, his biological dad. But his dad came with his stepmother, and her name was Dream, I believe. They helped me. We painted. We did yard work. We put down mulch. And they were in his life at that time. After they were married, Dream and Mike gave him a cruise for a wedding present. So we took care of the wedding. His daddy and stepmother took care of their honeymoon. When they came back, we bought him it was a nice trailer. A dentist had it, and we added patio and a porch to it. We made sure they had a car. We helped them to school all we could.
Okay. Did Natalie and Michael have much money at that time?
No, sir. She worked 3 jobs. At times she was working 3 of them. Michael tried, but Michael had a different temperament, and that's him, and that's fine. And he just couldn't work with public. Sometimes he would work at the school gym and get paid, helping people to exercise. He loved bodybuilding, so that was perfect for him. But she worked at different places to make money, and we tried to help. When they graduated, and before we took them on vacations with us, we did everything we could for the kids. We loved them, and we were close. They moved to Tennessee for a little bit, and that's where Nikki was born. And I was there with Michael when a few hours after she was born. I stayed with them to help them. They came to live at our house and wanted to remodel that old house. So the men worked, and we think sometimes Michael was like married to my husband. He loved him so much. They hunted, they fished, they built on the house. Larry taught him electrical work and carpentry, because my husband had to do all that on 2 houses we built. So they worked every time they were able, weekends, holidays, after hours of work. Natalie would work extra shifts. She worked as a pharmacist in Oak Hill at that time, driving to CVS. I would keep the baby when I got home from teaching. And then they moved in their house, and here came Ashton. So now we're a family of 6, the 4 of them and the 2 of us. Again, vacations, holidays, moving in the house. And I retired when Ashton was born so that I could be their babysitter. I just don't want to leave anything out that I wanted to tell you.
Hold just a moment. If you would, as to Natalie and Michael's son, would you just refer to him as their son and not name him?
Yes, sir.
Because
Yes, sir.
he's a minor.
Yes,
Okay?
sir. Yes,
All
sir.
right. Please go ahead.
So we start going to on trips. We eat out. We do a lot of things as a family, and my husband's still working. So at this time, Michael and him take a few holidays, and Michael always, I think we were very close, and the kids said he loved me. I thought he did. I wouldn't know for sure. He never said he loved me, but he'd always say, Daphne, you're going with us. And he was the domineering figure in the family, but Natalie didn't mind. I didn't mind. So I'd go with them while my husband stayed here and worked. I'd go on holidays with them. And I'd offer to stay in the room and take care of the kids at night so they could go to a dinner or something. He'd say, no, you're going with us. I want you to go to the steakhouse. He always took care of me. He'd do anything he could for me, and I'd do anything I could for Michael.
Okay, slow down a little bit.
Well, it broke our heart when he left this world. Our last trip was in the summer before Michael passed away, and we went to Ocracoke Island. The men fished, and we sat aside. We played in the water. They did the boards on the waves. It was a wonderful week. And Michael had a golf cart, and he got me a golf cart, and we'd ride the others around because that was fun for this person. But Michael was sleeping more and more. He, even in the car on the ferry, he'd fall asleep. He wasn't staying awake much, and he'd hold his head a lot. He was sick. When we came home, there was foods he liked to eat, and he had asked me to cook, and he'd come after work. He liked breakfast foods in the evening, all breakfast
I love
foods
that
at
in the
one
evening
time.
too.
And I'd fix it, and then he'd have to lay on the couch. He thought it was green mold that was making him sick. He was working at a house.
Ma'am, I don't want
Okay.
you to go into the case in chief.
Okay.
I want you to talk about
Some warm
Natalie's
Weet Bix,
character,
some sliced banana on it
etc.
at midnight.
We're not
Absolutely
here
delicious.
to relitigate the case, okay?
Okay. I didn't want to bring the case up. No, sir.
Okay.
But I
Thank
was
you.
just telling you, I just wanted everybody to know that Michael and I had a good relationship. The kids did everything they could for me. Natalie helped me with my ministry. So did Michael. I was always all about kids. I love children of all colors, all
Someone's talking in
sizes,
5
and I've
minutes of
helped
time, I think.
children and families in 45 countries. Michael helped me furnish, and Natalie, they helped me furnish seed in
Hello,
Zambia
child,
for
be over by the
Matambo
time she's
Village.
finished.
I'm sorry. Could you clarify that a little bit? What are you talking about?
Well, in Matambo Village is one of my favorite villages in Africa, and I've been there twice. They plant things like corn, tomatoes, cabbages. The government buys it, and then the government didn't give them money one time, and they couldn't buy seed.
Who is they? Who are you referring to?
The Zambians under Pastor Mukatasha lives there. It's a village in Africa.
All right, go ahead.
So we bought sacks of seeds. It was a total of $5,000 for all the seed for the village. And I had every kid there a mattress and a blanket. They were $81 for a mattress and a blanket.
When you say we bought this, who are you talking about?
Well, I have a ministry, and it's under the church. Other churches and people support me. It's all these people, we work together.
Okay,
I
I
can
want
get on
you
with
to
it.
concentrate on
Jesus
Natalie.
Christ.
Okay. Well, that's what I said. Natalie and Michael gave me $5,000 one Christmas. And we finished getting every child in that village a
change to them.
blanket and a mattress, because it gets down to 40 degrees at night there, and some of them get close to fires and they burn.
Okay, let's skip ahead over that. So you're talking about Natalie and possibly Michael giving you money to help this village in Africa.
Yes.
Okay. Could you-
They also bought playground equipment for the school in that little village.
Okay. And when you say they, you're talking about
Michael
Natalie?
and Natalie.
Okay. Anything else?
Let me look through my notes if you don't mind real
Sure.
quick.
Go ahead, take your time.
I wasn't able to be here during some of the trial because they thought I might be a rebuttal witness or something. So I don't know what was said and done. But it bothered me when I came back and there was a picture of Michael on the floor. No one ever explained why he was there, but I knew why. People said, take a picture the next time he
Okay,
passes
now,
out.
again, we're not
Can't say that.
relitigating the case. We're talking about Natalie's character and why this jury should consider granting her mercy.
Not your fucking life story.
We don't want to relitigate the case, okay?
I'll just mention that then I begged for mercy. I don't know how to beg from you. My children, my grandchildren, they need their mother. Larry and I probably won't be here much longer at our age. If she's gone that long, we'll probably never get a hold of her again. But maybe her children can if you give us some mercy. And it's funny that Larry used hope, Penny used hope, and that's what I had in my notes. We need hope. We just need maybe the morrows coming where she can look forward to something. And about her character, can I mention what she's done in the prisons?
Yes. Yes, she did.
She's written one devotional book, and it's being used a lot.
And for the record, you're showing that devotional book?
Yes, sir. This is her devotional book, and her daughter, Nikki, on the back did all the reflection pages. If you have journal writing in the prisons, federal prisons, you can have a book like this if it's for journaling and for religious reasons. So there's 2 reasons these girls get to keep these. And it helps inmates. It's Natalie's inner feelings about being there, things that she faced outside, inside. These girls relate to it. There's no one else that can relate like this girl does. And I hope God doesn't keep her there forever.
And you're pointing to Natalie, is that right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, go
I
ahead.
don't want God to keep her in prison forever, but she's a prison ministry person. And it's called the dandelion ministry, because even a dandelion will grow through concrete. I have my own ministry called Sewing for...
Okay, I'm done. We're going to go across to the other one now. So this will be part 1. And once we've finished the other trial, we can do part 2. But yeah, it's not urgent. I know that sounds terrible, but she's not going anywhere, is she? All right. So I'll end this one and begin the next one, and I'll see you all over there in a second. Bye-bye.
Justice served in an honest fight. True crime tales till the verdict's right. Solving more than just trivial quests, where sentences rule at the defense rests. Justice served in an honest fight. True crime tales till the verdict's right. Solving more than just trivial quests, where sentences rule at the defense rests.